I'm going to answer one of your most burning questions today. Why the heck don't I mount my solar panels like a normal RVer? Hey friendlies, it's Carolyn and welcome back to my RV life. I get asked that question all the time and you guys are like, it looks like an awful lot of work dragging them in and out, and why don't you just mount them like everybody else? And you know, some people even think I'm stupid, but you know, there's no shortage of those people. And so today I'm going to answer that question by putting together some clips of showing you exactly why I do not mount my solar panels. First of all, let's talk about what I have. I've got 300 watts. I've got a 200 watt Renogy kit that I bought on Amazon, I think for about $300. And then I have in the back, I have a 100 watt flexible solar panel that I am testing for my friend Bob Wells. And I gotta tell you, I love that flexible one. I can just pick it up with one hand and move it, and it's on like a 50-foot cord and I can move it around. I really love that. So first of all, that's my solar setup. A lot of you been asking about my solar setup. Right now I just have one 12-volt battery that this connects to. I have a spare that's really just on its way out that sometimes I'll hook this up and charge to run my laptops, but I'll get into that in another video. But this is my solar setup. I'll level with you. One of the reasons I have not mounted these, actually two reasons. One is cost. I went somewhere, I think in Quartzsite, Arizona, and they wanted like, I don't know, like a ridiculous amount of money, $1,000 or something to mount them on my roof. And I'm like, you know what, I could drag them in and out. I mean, my goal isn't to move every day. And yeah, so there are some disadvantages, but I'll cover those at the end. So that's one reason I didn't mount them. I didn't want to pay the money. I didn't know how long I was going to have my RV, and I didn't feel like investing $1,000 or even $500 or whatever it was into getting them mounted. And number two is kind of a joke. I don't need any more holes in that thing. And I've said that before. I certainly do not need more holes in Matilda, my 25-year-old RV, than are absolutely necessary. But I do have a really good valid reason for not mounting my solar panels, which I've shared with some of you in comments, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've never thought of that before, and no one else has ever done that. So stick around, I'm going to share that with you, my number one valid reason for not mounting my solar panels. Time to move the solar panels again. There's no better example of why I decided not to mount my solar panels than boondocking on the East Coast, which has these beautiful things. Tons of trees and lots of leaves. And that makes it really, really hard to get a lot of sun when you're boondocking. I have had very few spots in clearings where I can get a good maybe 4 or 5, 6, even maybe there Tennessee I was able to probably get sun pretty much all day. But this spot here, look at this. I was hoping the sun might come up over here and I'd get that, but it's not. It's coming up there and it's going to travel along here. And it sets over there. I got here last night and I saw that it set over there. And I'm not going to get a lot of sun today. So I'm out here moving my panels as much as I can. There's no place even that I can park my rig that I can get good sun. I thought about trying to park down here. But look how uneven that is. And even that, I'd only get a couple hours. So I have this lovely, wonderful, flexible solar panel. I think it's on 50 feet, which I love. And I love this thing. I love the 50 feet. My panels are only on maybe, 20 feet? And so I can't move those as far. But I'm still moving them all around a lot. So this is exactly why, if I had my panels mounted on my roof, I'd get 0 sun today. So that one right there was enough to make my controller I've got my laptop running. I'm rendering a video right now, which takes a ton of power, but that was enough to make this go from red to green, just putting that 100 watt panel in the sun. And that looks like it's going to be positioned pretty well for maybe a couple hours. So I'm going to get a little bit there. The more I can do that, the less I have to run this thing, the generator. Also testing for my friend Bob. Nice little generator. I can't get it to start right now for some reason. I'm not sure why. It might be out of gas. This is why I don't mount my solar panels. In places where there's a lot of tree coverage, it would have been, I'd get no sun today. None. And that limits, especially on the East Coast, that limits my boondocking opportunities even more. I'm looking forward. It's September. The leaves are starting to change. Maybe in another month, it won't be such a big deal. There won't be any leaves on the trees. I'll be able to get more sun. So, of course, you'll also have fewer hours in the day. Every little bit helps. I think what I need to do is, this one of course used to be longer, but by the time my friend Badge and I spliced it up and ran it through the storage compartment there, we probably sliced a good 3 to 4 feet off. So I think what I need to do is redo that. It'd be nice to have 10 extra feet on that. But we're getting a little bit. Me, myself, and I. And we've got the flexible, easy to move one over there. So this is actually pretty good. There's the sun. I'm not going to get much. But I'll keep an eye and I'll get as much as I can. And yeah, geez, I'll be lucky to get an hour maybe here. That one over there, I was able to move around a little bit in the afternoon and catch some. We do the best we can. This is why I've opted to not mount my solar panels on my roof. Look at my spot here. Take a look at this. I'm able to park in the shade and put my solar panels in the sun. And I don't have a lot of sun here, so another advantage is I get to chase the sun and put the solar panels where the sun is. But the bigger advantage to me being in the south during the summer is being able to park under the trees, park in the shade, and put my solar panels in the sun. If my solar panels were mounted on the roof, I'd have to be in the sun all the time, and it would get pretty darn hot inside my RV. Some people argue that by putting your solar panels on your roof, you're getting shade, but you might be getting shade in the few square yards that your panels cover, but the sun also beats down on the sides of your rig, and I don't buy that you're really going to get that much shade out of your solar panels. To me, it's worth it. I love being able to park in the shade and dragging my solar panels out into the sun and being able to stay as cool as possible inside my RV while my solar panels soak up the sun and give me the energy that I need. So now that we've talked about all the reasons why not to mount solar panels, let's talk about a couple of the disadvantages that I've discovered along the way. Number one, if you're driving all day, you're not charging with solar. Most RVs are equipped with solenoid relays that will charge your house battery by your engine battery when you're driving. Mine was broken for a while, so that didn't work. So while I was driving, if I drove 8 hours a day during the day, I was getting no solar, no sun, no solar power. So that is a big disadvantage. If you're in a van that doesn't have the relay solenoid to charge while you drive, you will not be able to charge while you drive. Compared to having it mounted on your roof, you're charging all the time, right? So that is a disadvantage. Another disadvantage is my goal is always to find a place to camp and stay for 7 to 14 days and to be comfortable and spread out and relax. Sometimes I can't do that. In a recent video, I talked about 6 campsites in 6 days, and I moved every single day. So dragging the solar panels in and out every day can be a little tiring. The other thing is, if you're stealth camping in a city, in a town, at a park, or at a Walmart, you don't necessarily want to pull the solar panels out and look like you're making yourself at home. As a matter of fact, I think Walmart frowns upon that, and if you're stealth camping, it's going to be a sure sign that you're living in your van or RV. I think those are the three biggest disadvantages to not mounting your solar panels on your roof. Number one, having to drag them in and out. Oh, and also finding a place to store them inside your rig. That can be a problem for some people. For me, I have plenty of room. I have a space all set up where I store them nice and neatly while I travel, and even if I have to live with them for a few days, it's not a big deal. They're out of the way. But for people who live in vans, storing 300 watts of solar is not necessarily an option. So room to store is also going to be an issue. So now I'm up to 4 disadvantages. I thought I only had 2, but now I'm up to 4. Dragging them in and out, storing them, stealth camping, you're not going to be able to pull them out anywhere you want and set them up, and not being able to charge while you drive. So those are 4 disadvantages to not mounting your solar panels. But for me, so far, I have decided that it's worth it. I like being able to park in the shade if I want. I like being able to chase the sun if I need to. And for me, pulling them in and out, it just doesn't bother me, honestly. It's just part of my setup, and literally I can pull in someplace and be set up within 10 minutes, so it's not a big deal to me. Just to recap, the 3 reasons I don't mount my solar panels. Number 1, cost. Number 2, I don't want to put any more holes in my roof than absolutely necessary. But the most important reason that I don't mount my solar panels is because I don't want to always have to park in the sun. I like being able to park in the shade and put my panels in the sun. And as you saw, especially on the East Coast, which has tons of forest, sometimes I need to chase the sun in order to get as many hours, as many minutes as sun as possible. So if I can park in one location and move my panels around to chase the sun, that's a no-brainer, right? And I also get to keep my RV cool by parking in the shade. Okay, so those are my reasons for not mounting my solar panels. Seems to make sense to me. There is a method to my madness. Many of you don't give me credit, but a lot of times there is a method to my madness. All right, I hope that was helpful. I'll see you next time, and in the meantime, be happy, be free, and be kind. I'll see you soon.